Sonoma County has always been a very climate-forward community. We started RCPA a number of years ago as the first regional body in the state that was coalescing around climate solutions.
We are a coalition of jurisdictions from throughout Sonoma County. So the cities and the county all at the same table, really tasked with trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions right here in Sonoma County.
Most communities don't have this entity or this type of joint authority. So we are really at the forefront of communities across California doing this work, studying the impacts of climate, and also coming up with creative solutions to implement. And where we're at right now is that we have really great plans, but in order to deploy them and deploy them effectively, where we can really solve some of these challenges, we're going to need to go out and find funding.
It's impossible to live in Sonoma County and to have not been impacted by climate change. Whether it's folks that lost their homes or even just that unease and that uncertainty that we all feel every time the wind picks up and the humidity drops. We all know what a red flag warning is. We all know what a public safety power shutoff is. Those are disasters that have been exacerbated by climate change, and we feel the impact and we feel the cost. Do we pass a tax measure, find a funding source that allows us to make that proactive investment in solutions that are going to solve climate change for us? Or are we going to wait and still spend that same amount of money on the back end trying to help people recover what they've already lost?
Our climate impacts right here in Sonoma County are not only going to mean more frequent and severe wildfires, but also more frequent and severe droughts, and interestingly, also more frequent and severe floods. So this is kind of feels like a contradiction in terms, but the fact is that we're going to get more atmospheric rivers in the winter that come here and dump a ton of precipitation that can cause large swaths of western Sonoma County to flood, while at the same time not getting quite enough rain to soak into the ground to replenish our groundwater storage.
We also have to have a real conversation, because putting a plan on the table doesn't matter if people don't actually implement it. How do we fund it, and what is the community willing to actually do as individuals and as organizations to drive these solutions forward?
We really need to be focused here in Sonoma County on resilience. So we need to be looking at things like home hardening, because ultimately we need to make sure that residents are prepared for wildfire if and when it comes.
It's not just transportation. It's not just wildfire mitigation or vegetation management. It's really across a number of sectors. It's electrifying our homes to reduce the amount of carbon emissions that are happening in the places that we live or in the places that we work. Also reducing our water usage. There's a number of ways in which individuals and communities can step up and do the work. Sometimes this stuff costs money, and obviously the more expensive it is, the more it will impact our low-income community, and the effects of climate often trickle down to impacting our most vulnerable residents. And so as we continue down this path and as we're developing plans and implementing them, we want to ensure that all voices are able to participate in this process and really feel empowered to tell us, their elected leaders, what does our community need to solve these challenges and to do it in a way that meets individual needs and meets the moment that we're living in now.
One of the worst things about climate change is that it often impacts those the most who are least prepared and can least afford to be resilient to those impacts. And so when you look at the impacts of climate change, you see that socioeconomically disadvantaged communities, often communities of color, are hardest hit by those climate impacts. So with this funding, we could really look at making equity investments.
What are the ways that we are impacted by climate, by wildfires, by our drought, and how are we studying, developing plans, and how are we implementing those plans at building a more resilient community and a place where we can all feel so excited to be raising our kids here, for folks to retire here, and to feel that Sonoma County is sustainable and resilient.
I really want to invest in Sonoma County to make it beautiful and vibrant and resilient for future generations. I want to see a Sonoma County where kids and families can safely walk and bike to school, can walk and bike to beautiful park facilities, and where you don't actually have to get into a car to get around.
Oftentimes, cities' budgets are stretched thin, and in particular, the smaller cities in Sonoma County have a desire to be a part of climate solutions, but oftentimes don't have the resources that they need for the planning, for the expertise, nor for the implementation. By funding measures through the RCPA, it allows us to bring together good ideas, filter through the best ones, and then help all of our jurisdictions from Cloverdale to Petaluma to make sure that we are all being a part of climate solutions here in Sonoma County.
I really do believe that the future of Sonoma County is bright. We face a lot of challenges. We're looking at drought, we're looking at wildfires, we're looking at floods, and the passion that we have in the community and the creativity that we have in the community, that's what's going to carry us forward. The values in Sonoma County are something that we all share, and we all believe in creating a vibrant and resilient Sonoma County for future generations.